It feels a lot like your soul is very peaceful. It's come here to experience a lot of peace. You're supposed to find peace even in the chaos. There are mirroring things in this life from that past life that you've come to heal with this person.
You're strong. You can even, pull yourself up without even having your feet touch anything.
I find that even in your current life right now, it's still important for you to use your voice.
What I'm getting is that you want a love that you can contribute to. You're asking for platinum, so you can't accept the copper when it shows up, even though it's pretty too.
You are being pushed outside your comfort zone to seek new heights.
And you are true to yourself and you're true to others around you as you live your authentic life. You are just you, and that is all you need to open up. We need you to speak your truth, Katrina.
Okay, so it has been a while since I have recorded a podcast episode. I'm going to move this forward and hope everything doesn't come tumbling down. Okay, awesome. So I wanted to jump on, and it's been a while since I've recorded, an episode for my podcast. I think I've only put out 3 or 4 episodes so far, and I've recorded about 8, and I have a million of them in my mind that I want to get done. But today I felt super called to record an episode because I've been having some really interesting things happen. So I live in the San Bernardino Mountains, and we recently just had a really, 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 really gnarly blizzard. Record snowfall levels. This is important. This blizzard's important. This blizzard is important. I feel like, okay, first of all, you may or may not know this by now. I don't know if I've talked about this on my podcast, but I am an outdoor person. I love playing outside. I live in the mountains because I like to camp and I like to hike and snowboard and fucking rock climb and all that stuff. So I have been praying for a nice storm to come through so that I could snowboard. Well, that storm has arrived, and it's past now, but it arrived, 2 weeks ago, and I want to say a couple days into, maybe within 1 or 2 days, honestly, it was pretty quickly into the storm, I got a message from my guides and angels basically saying this storm is going to change you. And it's not about the storm. It wasn't the storm itself that was going to change me, but it was the things that were going to be addressed during the storm. So kind of rewinding back. So at the beginning of my spiritual journey, awakening journey, before I actually had the awakening, I was being introduced to, so specifically, I was introduced to Kabbalah magic, right? Which is there's several different forms of magic. Basically, magic is just how can I say this? Focus. It's focusing your energy, right? So I was introduced to Kabbalah magic, and as I was going through the first chapter, it talked about levitating. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So if I work hard enough and focus hard enough, I can learn levitation. And so I started asking my guides and angels to reinstate certain gifts that I don't even know that I have, right? So one of those gifts was clairvoyance. So I started, I asked for, my psychic gifts to, I guess I always knew that I had gifts. You guys help me complete sentences. I hate when I start 15 sentences and I don't complete any of them. Okay. So, I started asking for my gifts to be reinstated, so to speak, or I wanted to learn to use them intentionally. Or, said another way, I wanted to learn really the difference between what was Trina and what was Source, right? So, we all have divine guidance at all times. I think, for me personally, realizing now in retrospect, a lot of what I thought was divine guidance, a lot of what was divine guidance, I interpreted to just be me, right? So throughout the duration of this storm, so stuff's just started getting interesting. So, all right, we're just going to start with the storm. So the storm falls. The first 2 or 3 days, I'm doing regular mountain person maintenance. If you live in the mountains or if you live in the snow and when you have a snowstorm, there's certain stuff you have to do every day. if you don't do it, your life becomes harder, in the future. For example, you have to shovel out your walkway. Anywhere that you want to not turn into ice and slash, a death trap, you have to take care of it. You have to shovel it. You have to put salt. You got to do something, right? So the first 3 days of my experience was, just shoveling the snow in the regular areas. Now, I have been having a barrage of information come through from my guides and angels, specifically after I had the reading with V to be introduced to my guides and angels. That was like a huge switch that was flipped within me, and they start just now it's like all the time, and I think it was all the time before. I just think I didn't know. So the first couple days of me being here, it's just me, my dog. I have a snake, and I have an aquarium with. I love animals, so I have an aquarium with guppies. I have shrimp. I have nerite snails. I have 2 African dwarf frogs. Okay, so my little house, even though I'm technically alone, meaning I don't share my home with anyone, my kids primarily live with their dad down the mountain, I did not feel alone at all. So the whole time I'm here, I have all this information coming through to me. So for example, one day I was just doing stuff, doing chores in my house, whatnot. And, okay, so because I have a aquarium, I was really interested in purchasing a pH meter so I can test the pH levels in my aquarium without using the strips, because the strips are subjective to hues and perception and the colors, and it's just not definitive enough for me. I want something to be very specific. So I end up on the Amazon website, and I'm looking at pH meters, and I'm watching this video of this guy showing how he calibrates the pH meter. I have no knowledge on pH meters or anything, or nothing on pH. I don't fucking know what it stands for. I don't know what it means. I just know that if I don't keep it within a certain range, my fish are not going to be happy. So I know that I need to figure that out, right? So I'm watching this video, and the guy's calibrating the pH tester thing, which, entails opening up packets of stuff, putting it in a thing, putting the little pH thing and testing it. So the very first value was 4 and some change or whatever, right? The second value he went to was 6. So then in my mind, this was my guides and angels, they're 9, right? And I'm like, so my ego jumps in. So the first thing I get was 9. I didn't ask for this, by the way. This is just, I started getting a barrage of information. It was like my guides and angels were with me. And as I was going through my day, because I was being so present, they were showing me how they can just drop information in to help me get to where I want to go. I keep smacking stuff, guys. I talk with my hands. It's such an irritating thing, but it is what it is. So I say to myself, 9, Trina, that doesn't make any sense. 4, 6. So the next should be 8 if we're using patterns, right? So my head is my ego's jumped in now. My ego's trying to make sense of this random ass 9 that just came into my mind. The guy proceeds with the thing. He opens the packet, and it's fucking number 9. And I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Okay, later on the same day, I am cleaning. I'm cleaning something up. I'm doing something in this section of my house. My phone is over on my kitchen counter, and the phone rings. Now, my phone rings all day, all the time. I own a business. I own a couple of businesses. And so when you own a business, if you own a business, if you have a number listed anywhere, you're going to get 1,000 calls from random people in India, just people trying to sell you stuff to your business. Almost never do I get a call from a client come through on my business line. Most of my clients email, and use our messaging system. So my phone rings, whatever. It probably rung 6 times before this particular time. But this particular time, the phone rings, and in my mind, Global Tel Link. Now, that's my dad. My dad, my biological father's in prison, and he was calling. So, I hadn't seen the phone. It was, and I said it out loud. I'm like, Global Tel Link. And I go and pick up my phone. Sure fucking enough, it's Global Tel Link. It's my dad. So I'm trying to illustrate right now, what I'm trying to kind of articulate here is the ways in which this gift or the information has been given to me or is being given to me, and how crazy it was as it was happening. All right, so now this is happening all day with just little stuff. Those are just a couple of examples. So, all right, another morning I wake up. This is so weird. Okay, so another morning I wake up and I literally open my eyes. I'm laying there. I don't have any, there's no phone, there's no, nothing is near me. No one is, just, again, me, the dog, the frogs, the snake, the fish, it's just us. I wake up and I have this vivid understanding between the correlation and the way the soul, the mind, and the body, like it was like an explanation of each of the roles of each of those three things and how they interact with one another, just in my head. Didn't ask for this. Maybe I did. I probably did. Usually, so I like to, as a general rule of thumb, I believe that anything that shows up into my existence, at some point I asked for it, because that's the law of attraction. Or at some point, I'm a vibrational match for this, right? So, bam, I'm awake. There's this information in my head. I'm looking around like, it was so weird, you guys. I can't even like articulate how weird this was. It was like, I went to sleep and I woke up with fresh knowledge, like I just took a class. Oh my God. Okay. Like I just took a class and I walked away with the data, and now I'm just laying in my bed and I have this data, and it's early in the morning. So I get up out of the bed. Now this is not way later. This is literally immediately. I sit up, pick up my fucking phone, and I go for some reason to my Audible app, and I go to the book by Joe Dispenza called Becoming Supernatural, and I don't even remember which chapter it was, but I go to a chapter, click the chapter, and all of a sudden in this chapter he goes into scientific detail, reiterating everything that I woke up knowing. This is so gnarly. Now I get knowings all the time, and I've known this for a while, but I didn't know that it was, psychic airdropping information, and I didn't understand how intricate it could be. Well, what my guide was trying to tell me, my guide Andrew, the spiritual one, because he's always sending me, good spiritual stuff to help me level up. What he was trying to tell me was that my body, my nervous system, had been programmed to a life that no longer was in alignment with who I was, or with an energy that no longer who I was. So he wanted me to do some meditations and to do some work to recalibrate the way energy flowed through my body. And that's why he sent that message. It was so neat. So really fucking interesting, right? It gets weirder, guys. So fast forward later on that evening. So, if some of you have heard my spiritual awakening story, you know that, this all kind of kickstarted or became real for me when my grandmother passed away, and I got a psychic reading. So, okay, so before the storm, I went grocery shopping. I've lived through storms in this area before. I've lived without electricity for over a week. I know the level of preparedness that comes with living in the mountains. And so I did a nice big grocery shop before, and I went to my storage unit also to get my pressure cooker and my rice cooker and my chains for my tires. So I went and I got a roast, and I totally forgot to get flour and garlic and onions and all the fucking things that you need to make like a proper roast in the pressure cooker, right? So I get home and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make this roast. And I start throwing salt and pepper, and I'm realizing all the shit that I forgot. And then all of a sudden, it's like, the best way I could describe this was like an imaginary, how you imagine having a conversation with someone? It was like I was imagining having a conversation with my grandma, but I wasn't talking at all. She was doing all the talking and I was listening, and I had no control over the dialogue. In your head, you kind of can control the dialogue. You say something like snarky, and then they have to respond all humble and whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, usually you have control of it. I had no control over this. So I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and sear the fucking meat in, with kosher salt, pepper, and some butter. We're going to do that. Get the flavor, started. Not going to brown it, because that is browning it, but not with the flour. I should have flour, right? And I hear my grandma, she's like, what the fuck are you doing? That's going to be fucking nasty. If you know my grandma, okay, my grandma was a Sag, from just to start there. Very fucking straight shooter, to the point. And especially when it came to cooking, because she owned restaurants, she could cook. That was like, oh my God. And she was very particular about it. I remember one of the times I got really upset with my grandmother is when she cussed out my mom because my mother didn't do something to the T. And I'm like, Grandma, you need to calm down. Calm all the way down. So I can hear her yelling at me. And so, so I brown, and I'm like laughing the whole time. It wasn't like an evil spirit of my grandma. It was funny. It was really funny because I knew, like, it was like I could feel how she felt about it, and then I could also feel my level of just not giving a fuck because, you know, I'm not with anyone. I don't have to impress anybody with this meal. My kids aren't gonna complain. My kids are down the mountain. I literally gotta feed me and my dog, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the snake eats fucking mice, and the fishy bloodworms, and you know, whatever. So I'm okay, so then after I get the thing browned, I opened up 2 cans of vegan soup because I forgot to buy vegetables and stock, you know, the stuff that you need to cook a fucking roast. And I poured 2 cans of vegan fucking soup into this, you know, thing with the meat. And I pour a bunch of carrots because I had ordered DoorDash and they had accidentally brought me carrots. Now, I think that wasn't an accident. I kind of feel like my grandmother slipped those carrots in with my DoorDash order to make sure that I had some healthy shit, because that just seems like some shit that she would do. So I throw the carrot, you know, peel the carrots, throw the carrots in there, and my grandma is like, that's gonna be fucking gross. And I'm like, Grandma, it's fine. Like, if it's nasty, I'll make pancakes, you know, it's totally fine. But she's talking shit. And then, but low key though, I kind of feel like I'm going crazy, right? Because like, this is a vivid thing. This is a vivid thing that's happening. It's a communication that's very fucking clear. But, you know, the 3D in me, the I've only been spiritually awakened, you know, aware of what's going on around me since 2020, right? That's when Grandma passed away. So about 3 years. I'm almost 40 years old. I'll be 40 years old this year. So up until 37 years old, I had a certain way of being. And there is a part of me that still is a little judgmental of, you know, some of the stuff that comes through now. So I'm like, dang, am I losing my fucking mind? So this is a barrage of just psychic energy that is just moving through me while I am stuck in this little bitty cabin going through this snowstorm. Okay, so it gets even more interesting. So, all right, so about the 4th or 5th day, we've gotten so much snow that I'm starting to feel like this isn't good. This is like, I don't even think I'm going to be able to get to the mountain to snowboard. Like, so I wake up, once again, they get me in the morning, you guys, like first thing in the morning, they get me. So I wake up first thing in the morning, and all I can think about is roof snow removal. I have never lived in a place, now I've lived in the mountains, but the last place I lived, I'd have to remove the snow. It was fine. Like, I've never heard of anyone having to remove the snow from their roofs. That's just not, it wasn't on my radar. So I wake up and it's like roof snow removal. So I get on YouTube and I feel like anywhere from 7 in the morning to 10 in the morning, I'm on YouTube just watching videos on snow removal. I learned about the rope method. I learned about the roof rakes. I learned, you know, just getting up there and shoveling. Like I said, all this data. And I'm like, why am I like zoning out on whatever? I'm just with it. So I'm literally watching all this stuff, and it is what it is. So around 10 o'clock, I look at my phone. I think it was like 10:30, honestly. And I'm like, I bet you need to eat. Like, so I get up and I'm getting ready to make a nice chorizo and egg burrito. I turn on my oven, it gas lights, and all of a sudden, I hear, that's what the roof sounds like when it's about to cave in, y'all. It's not good. It was a bad impression, but it's not good. I can very clearly hear something is wrong with my roof. Like, this shit's a... So, okay, so I live in a place that's like half of a trailer that has a actual home built over it. So part of the home is like just a trailer. So the top part is like really, I don't know what it is, like thin kind of veneer thing or whatever. So I can kind of hit it and it kind of gives a little bit. Well, there's a section right above my stove that it was like sunken in, and I pushed on it and it was cold and it was heavy and it was hard. So I turned off the fucking oven. That was the first day of every day shoveling snow off my roof. Unfortunately, this place that I'm staying in right now is way bigger than I need. I'm very much a tiny house person. I prefer no more than 500 square feet. This place is probably about 1,000, which fucking sucks when you're having to, you know, shovel snow off the roof. So it was crazy because I'm like, oh my God, I literally woke up with a warning from my guides and angels of what the day would bring. this starts happening a lot. Oh my God, I can go on and on about this, but I'm just going to continue sharing this experience because it was really fucking cool. Also a little scary, but it's fine. Only scary just because, like I said, it's that little old part of me that's like, oh my God, are you going crazy? But I'm not, like, because everything that, like, I guess I could say I was going crazy if all the things that, no, I couldn't say I'm going crazy. This is just a part of awakening, and it's pretty well documented by other people that have gone through this process, and I'm just sharing my version of that. So, all right, so every day now we're on the roofs, right? Shoveling snow. I can't get the entire roof cleared off myself because I'm talking about, like, we got about 8 feet of snow. It was pretty intense. So, okay. So one of the days where I'm shoveling snow, I get the snow off the area of my roof that I need to get it off of, and I'm called to go outside and work on the garage because I have a garage. And so I start getting the snow off the garage, and my neighbor walks by, and she's like, I'm like, hey, you know, she talks to me about something. I can't even remember. I think she was upset. I can't remember exactly. Whatever she said to me, my response was, you know what? Let me go help. Oh, I remember. Okay. Her roof, she had a crack coming through the top of her roof. So her house was like in imminent danger. And I knew that I had already cleared the part of my house that had, you know, the most roof damage to where the snow was going underneath it. So I felt like my place was safe, but I'm like, let's go get on your place. So I jump up on her roof. Me and her, we're shoveling snow all day, right? Next day, shoveling snow. We go to the neighbor's house. Her neighbors, the back of the fucking building started collapsing. We had about 3 or 4 buildings where I live, just in the 100 yards of my house. Roofs had collapsed and people's houses were destroyed. All right, so it's day, I don't even know what. Like, we've gotten a lot of snow off of the back of that one house that had collapsed. We got about 75% of the snow off of her roof. We got a lot off, but we didn't clear it completely because our intentions were to lighten the load to get it to a level of safety, you know, where we could not worry about the structure, and then get to whoever else's house was structurally in danger. So, I go and work on one of my neighbor's trailers, and she's just like a single chick. She's by herself. I see her shoveling out her front yard, but I see she hasn't touched her roof, and I'm like, you know what? I just felt called to go help her. So I'm like, fuck it. Let me go over there and let me go help her. So I go ask her if she wants help. Of course, she says no. Everybody says no when you ask them if they need help, which is hilarious because that's what I do, guys. Like, so I climb up on her roof, and when I climb up on her roof, I notice that there are some, firemen on top of the post office, which I live right by the post office. So there's firemen on top of the post office, and I'm looking like, God, we could use some help. I've been shoveling snow every fucking day for the past 8 days. Like, we could use some help. And it's been me and other women. Like, there's not a lot of able-bodied men where I live, which is fucking insane, but it is what it is. It was me and other women on these roofs shoveling the snow. Like, no complaints. We just got to get shit done. It is what it is. So earlier this particular day, I was in my house before I went out, and to get myself like hyped up and just like out of the sad, you know, because, you know, a lot is going on around me and the energy is really heavy around me. Because of the snow and the things that people are going through. People are stuck in their houses. If you've watched the news, you know, people were dead. People were found dead. People's houses blew up from, you know, gas leaks. There's a lot of bad shit that is happening. I'm being all lighthearted and whatever because my experience was what it was, but there's a lot of stuff happening, and so I'm kind of feeling this. And so early in the morning, I start listening to music. It's one of my things. I will listen to music and I will dance in the mirror by my damn self. Have a great time, right? So I was listening to Rihanna's Work, Work, Work. Oh, can I sing? Whatever. I was listening to Rihanna's Work. Don't know how I'm allowed to sing. I don't know the rules of podcasts, guys. And then after that song, I was like, so it's a work song. And then after that song, I got called to listen to Man Down. I haven't listened to that song in years. It's a song by Rihanna where she talks about shooting somebody and ending up in jail. Okay. That's how my day starts. So whatever. Now I'm on my neighbor's house. I'm helping. I see the fireman. I'm like, dang, sure could use some help. My boot, because I'm wearing my snowboarding gear. Now my snowboarding gear is meant to be in the snow all the time. So that was like the best attire that I could wear given the circumstances. So if you know about snowboarding boots, I have the BOA boots, right? So like it has a little twisty on the front, twisty on the side. I had stuck my foot sideways in the ladder to anchor myself so I can shovel snow off of her thing without having to worry about falling. And realize my fucking boot is stuck. So I have to take my boot off while I'm on this woman's roof with my leg wedged on the side. I'm not even fully on. Like, I'm on the side. It was so bad. But I take off my boot, slide my foot out, put the boot back on. Now my gloves are drenched in fucking snow. It's about 23 degrees outside. So I'm like, all right, I got to walk home really quick, and I need to change out my gloves to get some dry gloves on and make sure that my sock is dry. So I go in the house, I get a call from her. She's like, yeah, some guys just appeared out of nowhere and they're getting the snow off my roof or whatever. She's like, so you don't have to worry. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, sounds really hot. Take a picture. Right? Just being funny because I'm a goofball and I'm trying to keep shit light. So whatever. So I get my shit together and I go outside and I'm like, okay, so they're on her roof. Now the guys up from the post office are now working on her roof. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So I go back to my other neighbor who we'd gotten like 75% off. I'm going to help her. So I, got my shovel and I head over there, and she's up there on her roof with 2 other guys. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to jump up and help them. So I jump up there. She introduces me, and they tell me that they can't tell me their names because they're property of the state of California. And I chuckled because I used to be a government employee, and I thought the joke was we work for the government, so we can't tell you our names. That made complete sense to me because, like, when you work for the government, they be having the dumbest rules. And then, especially during emergency time, I don't know what the fuck. I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. So again, my attention is on the snow because, like, that's just where I'm at. Like, blizzard, we're just removing snow. So I'm, like, shoveling snow, and about 45 seconds after the guy says it, my guides are like, look at his pants. So I turn around. Bruh's pants say CDRC Corrections. So these were not just your average firemen. They actually were prisoners who participated in the fire camp program in the state of California. So the state of California has a program for like low threat, criminals where they can like basically like help out in emergency situations and whatnot. So I got to spend the day hanging out with a bunch of dudes who hadn't seen women in a really long time. Not gonna lie, it's very entertaining. Had a great time. So that was really cool. That was like another example. And it was crazy because I was like, okay, there was a couple things that happened with it. Like as I was talking to, one of the gentlemen, I was talking about like what we do up here because like, I don't know, it's like a different lifestyle living up here, right? And I was just talking about like rock climbing and stuff. And he was like, oh my God. So he tells his buddy, he's like, dude, she rock climbs. And he tells me, I have been daydreaming about rock climbing all the time. Like, it's like kind of like what helps me get through them, it's just like sharing a story with me. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh. So guides and angels are like, this is just a moment where you just get to shine being yourself, even though we're shoveling snow, these prisoners getting to hang out with you is just going to be like a beacon of light for them. Right. Like, I don't know. It was a good experience. It felt really nice. They were really good. Like they fucking helped us out and they were super fucking respectful and just cool as fuck. And so that was like a beautiful experience. But again, I'm tying this in because the psychic energy of like getting the song before they ended up coming and the work song, and then the fucking man down jail song. Like, okay, I had to switch to my much crappier camera because my other one died. My good camera died. Okay. So, I just wanted to kind of talk about that one because, again, the music that came through, the realization of understanding what the energy dynamic was between having that shared experience, with prisoners and with us, and it was, like, really neat. There was one other thing that happened that was crazy. The prisoner thing. Oh, okay. All right, so fast forward about maybe 10 or 12 days into this thing. Probably more, honestly. I have gotten to the point where I have done so much snow shoveling that my muscles in my hands are super swollen and just gnarly, and my arms are all jacked up, and what else? My arms are messed up. I'm just exhausted. And also, I got sick because, I was out there. The weather was like anywhere between like 22, 23 degrees and like 29 degrees. And, when you're out there shoveling snow, my body runs hot, period. I love living there. To me, like 65 degrees is fucking hot. Like I'm hot. I'm uncomfortable, So as I was up there shoveling snow, I had taken off my jacket. So I'm just wearing like my base layer and my snowboarding pants and my snowboarding boots, whatever. But just to get like a little bit of breeze. There were a couple days when it was just me and my neighbor where I was wearing a tank top, and again, it was freezing ass cold, but it didn't feel cold. Like you couldn't tell me it wasn't under 75 degrees. And I know logically, I digress. I'm an ass. I got really sick. So I woke up and it's just not feeling good. I gave myself a day to like chill. I felt really bad because, you know, people were going through stuff, and I'm one of the few able-bodied people in this like area that could fucking help, you know, for free. The elderly people that lived near me that, you know, needed assistance. And so I felt it was really difficult to kind of chill. So one day I get back at it, and I go out there, and I can't remember what I did. I shoveled something, I can't remember. And then I had to dig out my water heater because my deck had like 5 feet of snow on it. Had to dig out my water heater because we'd shut the gas down. And then I went and helped my neighbor dig out her water, just all this digging, right? But I have an injury in my spine, not my spine, it's the muscles around my spine, the rhomboid, I think, muscles, where they cramp, and it feels like they're gripping at my spine and ripping it apart. It's really unpleasant. I got it years ago while training Krav Maga, and it went away, and I could feel this injury being re-aggravated, right? So I'm trying to go home. Like, I'm like, okay, I helped with this, I helped with that. Like, I need to fucking chill. My back is like eating itself. So I'm walking back toward my house, and my guides and angels draw my attention to my neighbor. And they're like, so I'm looking at her up on her roof. This is a different neighbor. She hasn't been up here through the storm. She just got up there to try to get her roof clear. I used to live in her building. I used to live in her unit. So I know that the roof is structurally sound. So they're like, help her. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I'm clocking her arms. She's built like, you could see that she trains, you know. She's got a nice ass. I'm like, she doesn't need my help. They're like, go help her. And again, I'm like, weirdly, she doesn't know this because her back is to me, and I don't think anyone else saw me standing there arguing in my head with my guides and angels. They're like, go help her. And I'm like, the roof is structurally sound. I used to like this whole argument with them, and I'm just staring at her, and then they're like, go help her. I'm like, for fuck's sake. So I walk over there, and at this point I have the awareness. I'm like, okay, this isn't about the roof. They want me to go over there for some, I don't know what the fuck they want me to go over there, but I'm gonna go over there, right? So I go over there, and I'm gonna be honest, my energy was like 3% exasperated, maybe 5 or 10% like exasperated. Like, I know I can handle it because I know this roof is small. All I gotta do, like, I've already clocked the way I can do this physical labor without damaging my body anymore, you know. So I go, and I was like, hey, I'm like, you need some help? She was like, no, not really. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, I know, but they want me over here, right? So I just ignore her, and I'm like making my way up there. She's like, so she's going on. She's like, no, I'm good. You know, like, and I talked to these people, and I feel really good about the structure of my room. And I'm just not responding to any of her rebuttals because I am up here. That's what I said. In my mind, I'm sitting there like, I know you don't need help. Like, that's what I said, but they want me up here. So here I am. I'm going to shovel some snow. I didn't say that, but I'm just like, no big deal, whatever. So I start shoveling snow, just waiting to see what's going to happen. Oh dear, this woman starts talking to me. And basically she talks about having psychic gifts and not knowing how to use them intentionally. And I'm like, oh. So that's why they wanted me up here. And she's like, what? And I told her, I was like, my guides and angels were like, go help her. And I'm like, no. And, you know, we had this whole argument. So anyway, I say all that to say, really, 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 really interesting stuff. I have been asking for my gifts to come back online, and I have gotten my prayers. It has been really, really, really difficult, though. I'm not going to lie. So the first couple of days when I was, like I said in the beginning, you know, the first couple of days of the blizzard, I was having so much energy move through me. I started smoking more weed. Like, I tripled my marijuana intake, and it was because I was having a difficult time being in my body. Like, it just felt weird. Like, honestly, I guess the best way to describe it, and I hate it when people describe stuff like this because I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? But when people say it feels like vibrations, like, it literally just felt like this buzzing within my, you know, energy body that I didn't understand, and I didn't, you know. So anyway, so I'm on my roof one day. This is, you know, we're kind of rewinding here back to the middle of this story because I want to kind of talk about the way, remember I said I have that part of me that's still a bit judgmental about the psychic, you know, about anything, like all the spiritual stuff. Like, you know, I still have that, you know, American Christian, you know, version of me that's like, you know, or you're crazy or whatever, right? or just it's kind of like a gaslighty kind of energy that lives within me that likes to gaslight me. It's such an ass pain, which was a really good lesson to this. So I'm on my roof one day and I'm shoveling snow, and I'm like, I need to talk to V, right? Like Golden V. I've shared readings with her before, but I'm like, I need to talk to V. And I had a reading with her not too long prior, and so that part of me, that judgmental, shitty, gaslighty part's like, you don't know. What are you doing? She's gonna think you're obsessed with her. Like, it just started being like really shitty. It's like she's gonna think like you're using you know what you know. Why are you using her as a crutch, right? Like, it was just really, really kind of like mean and shitty, right? And so I was like, I almost didn't get the reading. I almost didn't book the reading because of this voice and because of these narratives that this energy that resides within me came up with. So, and this is really counterintuitive for me because there's a part of me that understands that when you feel called to get a reading, it's actually not you. It's your guides and angels trying to pull you into a space where they can deliver a clear message to you because they see that you're struggling. They're trying to help you get clarity. So that energy within you that's like, hey, book a reading, is really them trying to help you get clarity, right? So whatever, I kind of decide not to get the fucking reading, right? I go in the house and I, get on fucking Instagram or something. And V had posted, oh, I have 3 emergency spots available, or 2 emergency. She had some emergency spots available, and I hit her up immediately. I just took that as my sign. That's another thing I find, like sometimes spirit will move me in a way that just makes me take action. And that happens when I don't let that fucker, that gaslighty, judgmenty, whatever we're making up words here. Whenever I don't allow that to take over, that's usually what ends up happening. Like, I'll end up just doing something and I'll get exactly what I need. It's so cool. So I end up booking a reading with V, an emergency reading, and I go over all of this with her. I'm like, okay, so today's episode of Trina's Life is Crazy is all about psychic stuff. And, I tell her about waking up to data, just that whole understanding with the soul and the mind and the body and stuff, and the then being led to the book. And what else? So I want to play you just a couple of things from that reading.
Okay, just to freaking start. I mean, like, I'm just still like mind blown. Like, I mean, acting like, it's funny, even I still get mind blown when psychic shit happens. Like, I don't know how, I've been dealing with this forever, but I still think it's so cool because you know why? It's like seeing magic happen in real time. Like, it's like really seeing like something with the unseen just appear. So I want to talk about one of your experiences that really Spirit was kind of chattering in my head about, which was you woke up with the idea of something. What would you say? Mind, body. What was it again?
It was an understanding of the soul, the mind, and the body. And it was like, the soul is like the observer, whatever. The mind is like a transmitter. The body is like a receiver that makes energy, and then it goes in this circle or whatever. Exactly. My guide was trying to tell me that I need to reprogram the energy and the way it's flowing through my body, I think. Ooh. Anyway, but
okay, because that's what, I thank you. Actually, literally everything you said is literally everything I believe in. Exactly, so true. The reason why I brought that up is because you said it popped up in your head, then you open up a book and it basically described exactly what you thought. And so what I'm being told is that when this, what I feel is happening, because they do show me an image of your chest, right? And it's like literally like a machine. It's like opening, and all it is light coming out. Same thing of your mind. Your mind is now split open, like someone just literally split it open and there's light coming out. So this imagery of the chest being open, which obviously can imply the heart space, which is huge, obviously. And then the mind, right? Which is another big component. So both of these are split open and there's golden light coming out of it. And so what this vision or what this visual basically is saying is that this has to deal with pun intended, enlightenment. I mean, literally pun intended, literally light. But really they're saying that you're being broke open. That's what they're saying, open. And that experience that you had was basically, this is a catalyst. This is the starting point of things are about to get more paranormal for your ass here on out. So it's kind of like things that's been happening, from the snow thing to everything else. These are the small little things. And then that big, what, the downloads, what we call them, what you have that morning, basically it's really opening your channel. It basically enhanced it 10 times more. So now I feel like, feel and know that you will continuously, they said this is just the catalyst, it's broken open. You're going to have all really interesting experiences. And also, you were right, you received the message. They're saying that when you get, and this is just for the future, when you got that initial download in the morning and then you saw it in a book, the same thing explaining, they're saying, oh, we just use confirmation, something physical for the human brain. That is what we use it for, right? And so it was really just to make you, because you know how you're like, I kind of feel it, but we all need that extra little just to like, okay, now officially, okay, it's firm now. I know what's going on. And so basically that's what it's kind of like a game that spirit plays with you, like kind of like playing tennis. They throw the ball and then it's like, okay, did she get it? And then you hit it back. I think this is a message. And then they throw it back with like something in the physical realm, like the book and stuff, to really hit home like, all right, this is it. So oftentimes spirit messages like ping pong, they say one thing and then they wait for you to receive it. And then like, oh, okay, she got it. So this is your psychic, the power, I had to do like this, the powers, like it is literally opening very strongly for you, because not only that, first and foremost, these last couple of years for you have already been really interesting learning soul lessons in regards to a lot of your relationships, your family, your kids. There's been a lot of soul lessons you've been through. And through your soul lessons, you've acquired a level of wisdom and a level of evolving on a soul level to the point where they know that you're ready to take on this extra ESP, psychic things, psychic shit going on. So basically, when you were really, and you're going to really understand this, you were really distracted with a lot of the emotional issues that were going on with different people in your life, and different drama that came with these people. And so when our mind and energy is directed towards like fixing that and worrying about it, it kind of like the psychic energy is being used for all the drama and all the emotions. But now that you're like getting a little bit more like, okay, I see where this is going, I'm not even going to entertain it. You're getting even better at like just cutting things off, like we were saying before, like just cut shit off, letting it go, get it, as long as you let go and cut shit off quick. And so with that kind of, ideology, it's basically helping you become a lot more in touch with your psychic abilities. Basically, the psychic stuff was always in you for many of years. It was buried underneath all the stuff you were going through. And that's how it's for all of us. When we're going through too much emotional stuff, it's still there. But now you're becoming a lot more clear, and things are, and you're implementing changes. You're also, and like what Spirit says, most importantly, when you being a verbalizer and communicating and just sharing your energy and words with the world, that opens your channel up even more. They're saying that you said it perfectly. You're now in a state of allowance. Like you said, you said like, oh, I'm just allowing them to just like, puppeteer me wherever I go, setting me here. So actually I like the word allowance, because that's what's happening is you are allowing not only your spirit to lead you, but your own higher self to lead you, and to actually, and not only that, but you're listening, most importantly is you're really being able to listen. And what's funny, what Spirit says, they said, oh man, now that she has all this psychic stuff, a lot more creative ideas is running through her head,
Oh my God.
They know you. So they're like, there's a lot of, now she wants to try this, and she wants to try this intuitive thing, and she wants to like really think. Basically what your guides are saying is you're very interested in seeing how far you can go with this, basically. Meaning like, since everything, because this is how it all starts. First, it's just your own personal experience. It's like, fuck, man, I could really do some cool shit with this. And you can. And that's what they were mentioning about taking it even to the next level. And also what they're what Spirit's indicating is this. They're saying that you were brought to, and again, they're saying your soul has accomplished a lot of those soul lessons with interpersonal relationships. And so they're saying, now that you're coming from a more, and they're saying your perspectives and how you see your children, how you see certain situations play out with the people around you and even yourself. They said with this psychic ability kicking in, you're going to see it from a whole different perspective, where it's like, wow, what I used to really think would piss me off, now I see it in a whole different light. Like now I really see that I was supposed to learn this and this person's supposed to do this. And, they're saying they said connecting the dots, basically. You're connecting all the dots. And basically what they're saying is they said you've been really inspired. They're inspiring you with the creative ideas. Basically what they're saying is they want you to go further. That's what it feels like. I think it's just confirming what you already knew, basically, because they said you have all these new, they keep saying there's all these new fucking ideas. They keep repeating it. They said they want you. They said it's not random, and they said it's from them as well.
Yeah, so that is pretty much the gist of what she was saying with respect to my, the information that I was getting and like why it's happening and, the way things are like moving through me is super fucking interesting. So, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to share this because a lot of this experience of awakening, this experience of getting, back in tune with, my true essence, the experience of moving away, how can I say this? Like moving out of my humanness and more into my spiritualness and more into oneness. It's been a really fucking lonely ass journey that has been crazy and beautiful and confusing and but also like incredible, like, and I don't have a ton of people I can share this with. It's something that I pray for often, people who I can be of service to, or people who are awake, people who are, embarking on this journey. I have encountered people before I had my awakening who were awake, and I did not get it. I get how people who haven't had certain experiences can empathize. You just can't. Like, I hate to use this analogy, but it's almost like, the pain of losing something or losing a child, for example. Like, you can not empathize with that unless you've experienced it, or what else? Anything in life, be it poverty, you can't relate to somebody, who's impoverished if you've never experienced poverty. You cannot relate to extreme, affluence if you've never been affluent. You cannot relate to, I don't know. I hate to say being a dude if you're a chick, but I don't want to get gender involved because that's a whole other kettle of fish. It's not even real. So it is what it is. So I say all that because I'm hoping that in sharing this with somebody out there feels more seen and less, crazy, and like, hey, if you're on this journey and you've asked for your abilities to come back online, whew, stay tuned because they will. And the further you get away from shit that ties up your energy, I used to call it real estate in my mind, right? I remember dating someone and telling him, you take up way too much real estate in my mind and not enough real estate in my life. This is not fucking working, right? Like, once you get rid of all that bullshit shit that's in your, mind, all that stuff that is just sucking up and taking away your energy, a lot of cool shit can come into play. And I have struggled with that. I'm not going to lie. I literally have a situation right now, today, where the last person that I dated, I was deeply connected to this boy. Oh my God. And I haven't done my stuff on past lives yet, but I'm going to do that soon. But one of the things that I've learned, because I am so psychic and didn't really realize, is that a lot of the relationships that I've had with people in the past, I can feel the beauty and the pain sometimes, depending on the relationship dynamic of experiences that we brought through from the past life. And with this particular person, we had beautiful, beautiful past life experiences. We loved each other deeply and were very deeply connected. And in this life, his role has been to test me. And fuck, has he tested me. And it's been so hard to let him go because, I love him straight the fuck up. And I've had other, the soulmate that helped initiate my, not initiate, he was like the catalyst to my spiritual awakening. I don't talk to him anymore, and that sucks. Like, I'm so over not being able to maintain friendships with people that I think are cool as fuck just because I can't be with you because you want your life to look a certain way or you operate at a level of, you know, frequency that's just not where I'm trying to be. I don't want to lose those friends. And so I hang on to them. You know, I really tried to hang on to this person in my life as a friend or just somebody that I still communicated with because I didn't want to completely nix them. And I swear to God, the universe is like, no. It's funny because I was kind of battling this in my mind literally yesterday or the day before. I was driving down the mountain. I was just looking at the fucking beauty of the world. And I'm like, Trina, you know, you need to just disconnect 100%. It's one of the things you're being called to do because this shit is so distracting. So this morning I posted this beautiful, message on, this beautiful meme that I saw on Instagram, and I reposted it, and it says, one day you'll meet someone who gets it, someone who gets you, someone who loves you with every vibration in their body, someone who sees your worth and understands your needs. The love that you will have for one another will be fluent and flowing. It will change you. It will challenge you. It will drive you to new depths and call you to new capacities. Hold on to this love, for it will not wither with the weather, nor will it dry up through a drought. Dajari, Dajarae. I don't know who that is, but they wrote this and I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. And my ex decides to take it among himself to send me a message. I don't think that you have that level. Whatever. Basically, what he was trying to do is saying that because I didn't get this with him, because I didn't give this to him, that I'm never going to get it. And it was just this shitty energy. And I have another air quote friend that I know I need to fucking leave alone. Like, just let go, because here's the thing. When I hang around with people who don't have the capacity to see the world as big, as largely and as beautifully as I do, I diminish myself. I'm stepping into their tiny little box and I don't fit. I want some big, beautiful shit. And I don't give a fuck if nobody believes in it. And if you don't believe it, it's fine. And I don't want to say that nobody believes in it, because I do believe that there are other people that believe in it. I've had my 80%. I've had that partner where I was on the brink of not believing that relationships could work, not believing that I'd find a match, not believing that I'd find someone who wanted the lifestyle and the way of being that I wanted, to meeting that person. And between the both of us, me not being healed enough to show up in a relationship in a way that was going to allow for authentic connection and growth, and he had his own stuff, it just didn't fucking work. But at least now, after that relationship, I know for sure there's somebody out there that can handle my ass. There's somebody out there that sees, feels, loves, engages in the way that I engage. There is a match for me, and he's beautiful, god damn it, and he's fucking about his shit, and he's gonna see me, he's gonna fucking get it, and as long as I'm doing my work, I will draw in people who are and have done their work. And anytime I engage with somebody who I know, and I know very fucking quickly who has and who hasn't gotten to a certain level. Once you get, it's like, I don't know, this is probably a bad analogy. I suck at math, and it's probably a really shitty analogy, but I'm just going to use it. It's like, if you take a calculus class, and then you fuck around and do math with people who just barely got out of algebra, you don't say nothing. But you could tell by the way they did that equation, this is probably a really bad analogy, they don't have the level of awareness of certain rules and formulas and whatever that you do. And it's not a bad thing, because you know that you didn't know that shit before you took your calculus class either. So it's okay. It's not like, but the thing here is, the question that the universe is asking me is, are you going to keep settling for less? It actually read this in my natal chart one time. It literally said that she might marry for fear that she won't find, like, she might settle. It said something like she might settle for fear that she doesn't find like a real match. Like, whew, if my soul's going to send me a message any more clearer than, believing in what it is that I want, that was a pretty fucking clear message. So I'm definitely being challenged in my present life to really 100% let go of the things that are not in alignment with what I want, with where I'm going. Because here's the thing, those people that don't have the vision to, see whatever it is that you see, and whatever it is that you see is very unique to you, right? Like, it's not for everybody. Everybody's not supposed to get what the fuck I want, because you're supposed to want what you want. I'm just waiting for the person who gets it. And I know that I can find them because I just wasn't ready for him and he wasn't ready for me, because both of us, when we came together, we equally, oh my God, this is just hitting me. We equally didn't believe. We equally had given up that we would ever find somebody that would be enough and that we would be enough for. We'd equally gotten to that place. I think my perspective was a little different. And I believe both of us through that relationship realized we were wrong. We were really fucking wrong. But we're Sagittarius, which means we're a bit of extremists. We have to really kind of get pushed through the ringer to learn certain lessons. When we decide some shit, we're going to get what we want. We're going to, and you always get what you want for better or worse, So I don't know. Anyway, I'm saying all this to say, clean out your fucking closet. Get rid of all the bullshit. If you're wanting to get clearer on developing your psychic gifts, clean out your fucking closet, clean out all the bullshit, and allow source to just come through. And also get help. Like, if you're called to go to somebody and get a reading or something, fucking do it. Don't let money gaslight. Don't fucking worry about money. Don't worry about what people are going to think. Who gives a fuck? Honestly, like, if I could teach a class, it'd be called Who Gives a Fuck? And fuck everybody. But not to be shitty. It's not like the energy when I say that, like, I'm blunt and I'm a Sagittarius, so I talk shit, right? But, like, I'm not saying, like, fuck you, you're an asshole. But it's not like that. What I'm saying is that I'm allowed to want whatever the fuck it is I want, however the fuck I want it. And it's not your business. And it's not your problem. And it's not for me to encroach upon what you want. For example, I have a friend that really, really, really wants to be polyamorous, or considers himself polyamorous. Baby, be polyamorous. But don't cry to me. I'm just kidding. We're not going to go into that. Let me see. What's a better example? We're all here to want and experience different things. Period. So, you know what also kind of is gnarly about that reading, and I'm not going to share this because I don't feel like finding the clip or whatever, but she said in this reading too that because I had gone through all the different soul lessons, that like one of the things I'm supposed to do is teach people some of the things that I've learned. So I've actually started developing some classes and some workshops and some, study groups and things that, I use to help me through my journey that may help other people. Because what I find about myself is like, I'm kind of the queen of procrastination. Like, whew, I should get a very big, beautiful fucking crown for procrastinating. So when I was a kid, I used to, when I hated homework, honestly, I was a space case. Like, specifically, I'm thinking about elementary school. I remember being in class and just being miles away, literally in my head, straight daydreaming all the fucking time. I'd get home from school, back in elementary school, you had one sheet of homework. Well, my kids have way more, but back when I was a kid, there was one sheet of homework. It's on 2 pages, probably like 4 questions on each page, and I would spend hours at the dinner table just staring at this fucking paper. I wouldn't be staring though. I'd be miles away. I'd be in my head playing games. Like, oh my goodness, or just whatever. I would just be in my head, like miles away. I'm not thinking about this. I can sit in this chair and completely entertain myself with nothing but my mind. I'm still like that. So that's one of the reasons I like school so much, because, you get in, you have a syllabus, you have to show up, there's accountability, but I have found that, like, through my spiritual journey, I've been given tools by my guides and angels that I did not fully take advantage of immediately, because I have that energy of fucking around and not, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And now, if one of my parents came over and sat next to me and, like, read number 1 to me, I could get through it like that. No problem. Got it. It would take me 45 seconds to do the whole homework if somebody would just sit with me and make sure that I stay focused. But I don't. So I want to create some learning forums for people like me that just, like, when I had to do my inner child work, I kind of bullshitted on that. Like, I still haven't completed the entire workbook. And so I want to create, some spaces for people, like me, to kind of work together and do things together. That way there's a level of accountability and you kind of go through it, because it's like, okay, I'm going to show up and da-da-da-da. This has been a long episode, but I just wanted to share what this blizzard has been like for me, and all the crazy just psychic experiences that I've been having. And this is just, you know, a finite amount of time, but it was so transformative. And I met a lot of different people that I wouldn't generally connect with. And a lot of beauty has come from this really, 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 really tragic, really, really, really tragic blizzard. I don't know if it's tragic. I don't like to use that word, but I mean, there's just been a lot of tragedy, and I don't want to make it sound like it's all beauty, because, you know, people died, and people lost their homes, and, you know, we lost, you know, grocery stores collapsed, and, you know, a lot of destruction. But what comes of destruction? New birth, right? Like, so, all right, I'm gonna go because my dog needs to go to the bathroom, and he's been complaining this whole time, and I haven't let him because I'm a terrible dog mom. But thanks for listening.